And now here I'm going to paste it. So it says meet me at the place we agreed. We have to close the deal today before going home. So this is an SMS. I'll say submit. It says the message is not spam. And similarly, if I check for, let's say, congratulations, you have won $1 million. Send OTP to claim the prize. Okay. And now I'll say submit. It says the message is spam. Okay, so this is the way it works, and this is a really great one. Okay, so for the first time I have used the Materialize CSS. Hey everyone, my name is Ronak, back with another video, and in this video you are going to learn how to take a dataset from Kaggle and build an end-to-end full stack application. So in this tutorial you are going to learn that we are going to work with one of the NLP projects. Okay, so I have been doing a lot of stuff but not with the NLP, and in this video you are definitely going to learn that. So we are going to build a spam classifier. Okay, so this is one of the most introductory level projects that you can come across whenever you are working with, let's say, ML or NLP or anything of sort. Okay, and SMS spam collection dataset is one of the famous. It is provided to you by UCI machine learning website. So you have a dataset with, let's say, a lot of values where it either says ham or spam. Okay, so ham indicates that okay, one of the mails or emails or SMS that I have got text is not a spam, and spam is basically just a spam. Okay, so spam can be like assuming the fact that okay, you have $1 million, so please send the OTP in order to register to our website and claim the award prize. So that is a spam. All right, so assuming this example over here itself. Okay, so it says free entry in a 2-weekly competition to win FA Cup final tickets 21st May 2005 and something sort of that. Okay. So we are going to build a basic machine learning classifier for this one, and first we will use a lot of NLP techniques involved, and then we are going to enclose this into a full stack application. Okay, so I have made a dataset folder where I have the archive.zip, which you can get. So once you made a Kaggle account, Kaggle is very good. It is good for competitions and sort of such things. So you have to just click on the download. So this is hardly 492 KB, and after that you will have to unzip it. So it gives you spam.csv. Alright, so let us get started. So now here I am going to make a folder named as notebook, and this notebook is going to have my Jupyter notebook. So here I'll go and open my shell. So I'll have to say control backtick in the VS Code, otherwise you can just use the normal CMD also. Alright, so I'll just navigate to the notebook folder, and after that here I'm going to say Jupyter notebook. Now in this folder I'm going to say new Python 3. So I'm making a new file where I'm going to work with my NLTK, and here I'm going to say, let's say, spam detection notebook, and here you will require some of the packages. So alright, so you will have to say pip install pandas and scikit-learn and NLTK. Alright, so I have already installed them. Anyway, let us get started. So first of all, you will have to say import pandas as PD, and now you will require the data set. So you will have to say df pd.read_csv, since I have that in the CSV format, and then I'll have to navigate to the folder. So from my current directory, I'll go back and I'll go to the data set, and I'll go to the spam.csv, and then we are going to say encoding is equal to, so this is not format as, okay, so you will have to say ISO 8859-1. Alright, so that is just the convention, and now we can say df.head, and I have it. Okay, so I have ham, and this is the data. Alright, so this is my target class, and these are my features. Okay, so and these are not just required. Okay, so I can just get rid of these entirely, but this is the way it works. Alright, and now one thing that I will have to particularly do is check the shape. Alright, so I'll have to say df.shape. So these are 5572. Alright, and now let us get started with our NLTK. So NLTK I'll be using in order to pre-process the text that we have at the moment. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to import let's say NLTK and regular expression. Then the next thing I will have to import is let's say NLTK from the corpus. Basically I'm going to import the stop words. So the stop words are necessary in order to get rid of, let's say, just commonly used words. So I'll say from, I can say NLTK.corpus, I'm going to import something known as stop words. Alright, later on we are going to require a stemming mechanism. So stemming is basically used in order to, let's say, stem the things. Okay, so I have already talked about this. I have made a video. So there are stemming mechanisms like, let's say, snowball stemming, or let's say Lancaster and Potter. So stemming is a process where you get to the root stem of your word so that you don't have to repeatedly use the word in order to increase the number of vocabulary. Okay, so meaning with the different grammatical expressions can be derived from just the stem. So I'm going to say from nltk.stem, I'm going to import the Potter stemmer. Okay, so that is one of the most commonly used stemming mechanism, and here I'm going to say let's say stemming is equal to Potter, or I can just say PS. Okay, so makes things quite easier. Okay, so PS is equal to Potter stemmer. So I'm just initializing the object of it. Now I'll have to work with the textual data that I have. Alright, and in order to do that, what I'll do is I'll first apply the regular expression to it. So a regular expression gives me the leverage in order to just get rid of the stuff that I don't really require. So that stuff can be let's say just the textual data. Alright, and that text data can be not clean to the matter of fact that we want. So we actually want that to happen, and the way I do it, so I'll have to say df, and from that I'll require v2. Alright, so v2 is basically where I have my data, and after that I'll say df with the v2. I'm going to say map function. Okay, so map is basically a sort of advanced function mechanism. So there is map and there is filter. We are going to cover both in this tutorial. Okay, so this is quite of advanced Python. We could have actually used for loop, but I'm just moving with the map. Then I'll say lambda. Alright, so lambda gives me leverage to declare the variable that I want. So I'll just say text. Alright, and followed by a colon. So this is the way the lambda is done. Then I'll say re, that is my regular expression dot substitute. Alright, so what I really want to substitute, that is now the question. So I want to substitute each and every single thing. Alright, I want to substitute each and every single thing with the spacing. Alright, which is going to take my text. Alright, so this is the way it works, and here you have to specify, okay, so what you really want to substitute apart from the things that you're working on. So I'll just say like this, and then I'll say A to Z all with A to Z capital all with 0 to 9. So I really require numbers, because mostly in spam they will request you some OTP or some sort of that, or there might be some number mechanism or the phone numbers or anything such of sort. Alright, so we have to focus on that. Alright, but this map function is not sufficient. We will also have to apply it since we are working with the data frame. And the way I do it, I'll say dot apply, and this apply is going to take the text, and we want to just let us say make it lower. So that is one of the things that I want to work on. So in that I'll say lambda once again, followed by, let's say, just say x, alright, with a colon. And now first I will have to split it. Alright, so splitting is a process function with which I can split the data, but of which, so I want to first lower the data. Alright, and we are done. And now this has actually substituted all of the things that we want. Okay, so regex has been applied. Now the next thing that I want to do, okay, so I can just say df.head check. Okay, and if you see, everything has been enclosed within a list and everything has been substituted, and apart from that everything has been converted into small words. Okay, so it has been lower. So this is the way we actually process the text whenever we have to work with it. Now next thing is I'll have to say corpus, because now I'll be working with the corpus that I have, the entire corpus, and this is going to, let's say, df with the v2, and here I'm going to say apply. So I want to apply. Now what? I have to apply the lambda function. Now I'll be working with the stop words and everything. So this is my main processing function, and this is going to be a very lengthy one. So I'll just say text. Alright, and inside this lambda, what I want to do is I want to join. Alright, I want to join the function that is not present particularly in the stop word. Okay, so I have to only add the words by joining them which are not available in the stop words. So for that I'll have to say list, because I have to enclose everything inside the list. And now I can either write a comprehension. Okay, so even writing a comprehension is fine, I say fine it seems, but let us now use this, the map and the filter function that we have been talking about. Alright, so here I'll just say map. So map requires two parameters. So first is definitely going to be the declaration. So I'll say lambda with, let's say, w as the w for the words, and here I'll say ps.stem. So PS is my potostemma, which is going to take W for what? Alright, so it is going to take it for the list of filter. So filter only returns, so filter and map, there is a slight difference. So filter returns you the only value if it is true. Alright, so for what I want to apply the filter? So filter I want to apply, so I will have to say lambda once again. So lambda for text, that if text is not available in the stop words, I want to give it to it. Alright, so I'll just say text not in, alright, the set of stop words dot words which are within English, and we have it. Okay, so very complicated it seems, but just in order to get rid of the for loop, I've done that. But here you have to also specify the text list, okay, because we are enclosing one parameter, because this text list has been enclosing within the other. Okay, so let me just add it to the next line. Okay, so it is going to make it easier to read, and let me put it over here. Alright, so this is the way it looks. Okay, so now let me once again walk you through it. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'm applying a function, alright, where it says lambda for the text. Alright, so this is text. Okay, so I was talking about list. Alright, so I want to apply text for the fact that I have won this entire function with the text. Okay, where I am saying that I have to join the words if those words are not within the, for the fact that these words are stemmed if these words are not available in the stop words. Okay, so this is the thing it is doing. The thing it is doing is very easy. I could have actually even used the for loop, doesn't matter. And now this is going to take a while to run, and execution is finished. So now here I'm going to say corpus, and if I check in the corpus, everything is been done. Okay, so whatever things are not present in the stop words have been only considered, and apart from that, the stemming has been performed. Okay, so potostemma has been applied. In order to give it to our ML algorithm, still it cannot understand text. I pre-process the text, but it cannot understand it, frankly speaking. So in order to do that, what I'll do is apply, either there are two techniques. Okay, so one of them is known as bag of words, and another is known as TF-IDF. So TF-IDF is term frequency inverse document frequency. So I have not covered any tutorials on this one till yet, but bag of words is thing where you take the occurrence of the word with respect to every single word. Okay, so it is a long chain of vector, and it gives you the occurrences. Okay, so whether it is present one time, two time in a sentence, and everything, and apart from that, and there is something known as also term frequency. But since this is a spam mechanism, words like congratulations or things of such sort are going to be applied all over again. Alright, so we will use something known as TF-IDF, and we're now going to leverage it with let's say sklearn. So I'll have to say from sklearn dot feature extraction dot text, I want to import TF-IDF. Okay, so you do have two options. Okay, so I am using the TF-IDF vectorizer, and I'll just say TF-IDF. Okay, so I'm not covering the mathematics of this, but I might in the near future. Okay, so this is just going to take all of the words, and it is going to convert them with the frequency occurrences of the word in a particular document. All right, so if the word is present, it is going to count it, and then it is going to take all of the words and give me a logarithmic value. Okay, so that is the thing it is doing, so that we get the occurrences which will be given to the ML model. So our ML model understands, alright, so this is the word and this is the output that I shall be giving it. Alright, so now after that I will have to say x data. So now I will have to give it my x data. So my x data is basically my corpus. Okay, so I'll say TF-IDF dot fit transform, and after that I will have to say corpus, and this is a numpy. Alright, so I'll just say values, which will be given out to an array. Alright, and now if I say x data, I have the values. Okay, so everything has been converted into, let's say, either 0 or the term frequencies, and I can also check the shape of it. So I can say df dot x data dot shape. Okay, so these have around 7,163 columns. Alright, so pretty, I would say, massive array. Alright, so that is the reason you are only able to see zeros, because most of the things have been considered with these 0. Now the next thing that I want to focus on. Okay, so this TF-IDF is done, and now the great part is you have to store this, because this embedding will be used for our prediction mechanism. So not just machine learning model, but this embedding also you have to store, because this is consisting of the vocabulary. So whatever vocabulary I am feeding it while the fit transformation will be only used in order to yield another output. Alright, it requires you to hold that value. So in this particular kernel itself, I'm going to save the model. I'll do that later on, definitely. But now let us just now focus on the Y data. So for the Y data, I'm going to just say df with the v1. Alright, because it has my all of the values. Okay, so I can just say df so Y data of the shape, and I can also check the head of it. Alright, so I can just say head like this. Okay, so ham, spam, everything has been covered. Anyway, now the one of the important things. Okay, so I will have to train test split this. So I'll have to say from sklearn dot model underscore selection, I'm going to import the train test split, and here I'm going to say xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest with train test split, which is going to take x data and y data, and it is now going to require the test size. So I'm giving it let's say 20%. That is just a generic one. All right, and the next step, yeah. So now I'll just run this, and now I'm going to use the naive Bayes algorithm, because naive Bayes is very commonly used, and it is one of the most basic algorithm that you can come across when we talk about, let's say, the NLP stuff. All right, so I'll say from sklearn dot naive Bayes, I'm going to import multinomial NB. All right, so I think I have not covered the naive Bayes, but that is just fine. Okay, so it is quite easy to understand. So it just works on the occurrences. So now here I'm going to say multinomial NB, which is the naive Bayes, and the alpha value I'll let's say go with the default. Okay, so I think the default is like this, but let us just say 1.1. All right, and so fit prior. Okay, so I'm just saying true. So this is for the prior probabilities and everything. Okay, so fitting of it and everything. I have not covered it mathematically. I might be in the near future. Next step is model.fit. This takes my xtrain and ytrain. All right, so my model has been trained. We are done. So now here I can say ypred is equal to, let's say, model.predict, which takes my xtest. All right, and now I can check the accuracy score. So I'll say from sklearn.matrix, I'm going to import something known as accuracy score, and accuracy score is going to take two values. So it is going to take my ytest followed by ypred. Okay, so 97%, not bad, I would say. And now we are going to save both of the models. So these models are very, very important to save. Please understand this, because you cannot just save in an NLP stuff. You have to work with the TF-IDF, because the text we are going to give in any application is going to be text. No one is going to be obviously giving you out the numbers. So that pre-processing needs to be done on your part. And the way we do it, so we have to save that TF-IDF. So for that, I'm going to say from joblib import dump. All right, so joblib you actually get installed with the scikit-learn itself. You don't have to separately install it. And now here you have to say dump, and I'll say TF-IDF. And now I'll make a new folder over here. Okay, so saved models. All right, saved models. Okay, so this is the name of the folder that I'm making the root directory. And let us say, okay, so like this. Okay, so // and I'll just say saved models, and inside this saved models I'll say TF-IDF with the .joblib. Okay, so that is the extension, and it has been saved. Now similarly I'll say dump for the model, that is our naive Bayes model, and here I'll say dot with the saved models, and I'll say model.joblib. All right, so our ML part has been done. It is over, and now we are going to focus working on the API, because now API is the only thing that is going to considerably coming to picture, where we are going to, let's say, predict stuff. All right, so now I'll just save this. All right, and I'll just close and halt. Here I'll say quit. All right, and inside my VS Code I'll say CLS. All right, so now here I have my saved models, and I also have my notebook, but now we have to focus on app.py. So I'll just make new file app.py. So for this you are going to require something known as Flask. Flask is one of the packages, so you will have to say pip install Flask, followed by you will also require something known as Flask_cors. So for me it says requirement already satisfied, because I've already installed it, but if you haven't, please do that. So now here I'll say from Flask, I'm going to import the Flask. All right, and now I'll say app is equal to Flask, and it takes __ name __, and here you have to say app.route, and I'll just hit on the basic route. and here I'll say def basic function. So this is one of the functions where I return, let's say, nothing. All right, and here I'll say app dot. So here I'll have to make an entry point. So I'll say if underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equal to underscore underscore main underscore underscore. I'll say app dot run, where I say debug is equal to true. All right, so my Flask application is ready. This is just the basic Flask anyway. And now I will require a post request. So I'll say methods is post. So this post require is responsible in order to help you hit the route. All right, and here I'll require let's say something known as request and something known as JSONify. So this JSONify will be used for the REST API. All right, and now let me import my models. So here I am going to say from joblib I am going to import load. So I'll be now loading the models, and here I'll say model is equal to load. I'll go like this. Okay, so I'll say dot slash saved models followed by model dot joblib, and similarly I'll do it for tf-idf is equal to load, where I call it from saved models followed by tf-idf dot joblib. All right, so my models are ready, and now here I'll say text is equal to request dot json for the text. Okay, so we are going to pass it with the parameter of the as the text from the JSON, and I'm going to take that text and I'm going to apply tf-idf on it. All right, so that is one of the things that you will have to surprisingly do. And here I can say, let's say xtest is equal to tf-idf dot transform, and transform takes the text as an array and dot to array. All right, and now I give it. So I say ypred is equal to model dot predict, which is taking my xtest, and let us say print ypred. All right, print with the 0th value of it, and my API is ready. Now we have to check the API. So for that I'll go into the postman, and now in this postman I'll hit on the local route, which is localhost colon 5000. Okay, so I just zoomed it for a while, and now here I'll head to the body with the JSON, and now here I'll have to make a JSON file. So I want to hit with the text, and let's say congratulations, you have won $1 million. Send OTP to claim the prize. All right, so this is the text that I want to perform, and now I'll check whether it is working. So I'll now run this. So I'll say py followed by app.py. So if you are working on Linux or Mac, you can say Python, and server has been started. So on this server now I'm going to hit with the post request. So I'll say send. Okay, so it is working, and here we can say, yeah, it is spam. All right, so it is spam. Why it is spam? Because it is congratulations, you have won $1 million. Now I'll just get rid of this, and I'll say meet me at the place we agreed. We have to close the deal today before going home. All right, so just casual text. I'll again click on send. Okay, and now if I check, it says ham. Okay, so it is not a spam, it is a generic email that has been sent to someone. Let's say my API is ready, we are done. Now I'll just get rid of this because we are going to catch that. All right, and here I'll say JSONify with let's say response, and this response is going to give me the let's say ypred of the 0th value. All right, so my API is ready. My API is completely ready. Okay, my server is up and also running. Now here I'll make a new folder. I'll say front end. All right, inside this front end now we are going to work. So I'm going to say index.html. All right, I'll just say exclamation. I get the basic document. So I'll here say spam detection mechanism. All right, and followed by that I'll also require a script.js. So this is going to be a JavaScript file where we are going to apply our logic. All right, and in the body I'll say script. All right, with the src as script.js. And now I'm going to use something known as materialized CSS. Okay, so if you head to the Google and you say materialized CSS, you will come across this. Okay, this is a great website. Okay, so I could have used Bootstrap, no doubt, but we have to always keep on changing the stuff so that we learn a lot. Okay, even I am trying to learn a lot. Okay, I am not actually a front-end developer, but I'm learning some of the other things. And now if you head to the getting started, you can actually come across the CDNs. So we are going to require these. So I'll just copy them and I'll post it over here. Okay, so these give you the leverage in order to use the materialized CSS without let's say downloading anything. And we have it. Okay, so now we are going to work on our HTML for a while. So just like Bootstrap, there are many classes involved when we talk about the materialized CSS and all right. So, and this is, I would say, very easy. This is also not as hard as it seems. Okay, so it is definitely hard. So first of all, I'll make a navbar, and here I just make a div class with the class as, let's say, navwrapper, navwrappr. Okay, you can check the documentation. There is a lot of stuff related to the documentation. And now I can here say with a p tag, I can actually say as, let's say, class with a brand logo, and here I can say spam detection. All right, and I can save it. And here now in the VS Code, you have to say just go live. Okay, so this is the server. Okay, so it has coming over here. So now I'll make some changes. I'll say center. Okay, and now let me check it. Okay, so we are actually getting it in the center, but it is not in the navbar. Okay, so we will have to mention the class that we have. So here I'm going to say, let's say black, followed by, let's say, lighten. This is just the text that I'm using. Okay, followed by, let's say, blue gray text. So this is a shade. You can actually find all of those shades with the lighten as -fi. All right, and now here I cannot, I think, use the paragraph tag. All right, so I'll have to use the href. I'll just click on the hash. All right, so that actually makes quite sense. And yeah, we have it. Okay, so when I actually use the href inside the div, I got it, because paragraph, it was actually giving us downside. Anyway, and if you head to the materialized CSS, and if you let's say click on the CSS, all right, inside this CSS you will find something known as color. So you can click on the color and you will have all the shades. Okay, so I selected that gray, white. All right, so similarly there are many shades, so blue, gray, and like this. So you can actually work with that. Now we are going to require form for our application. So here I'm going to say HR, and now I'll start by a div tag where let's say I'll be using with a class known as container, and inside this container I'll put my form. All right, so I'll say form with the class as let's say col s12. Okay, so s12 is basically small 12, otherwise just like that. Okay, so that is sort of thing. Otherwise I can just keep it also blank, doesn't matter. Let us check with the id as let's say the form data. So we are actually using this in order to interact with the JavaScript. Next thing I can use is the something known as text area, because we are actually going to give it our spam data, and in order to work on it, so here I am going to say class as the materialized text area. So this helps me work with the text area, and id I'll be giving it as let's say text area. So we are actually going to try to catch it in the JavaScript. And now I'll also require a label. All right, because label is very important, and I'll select for text area. All right, and label is going to be, let's say, enter your text. And finally we are going to require a button. So I'll say input with the type as submit. I'm sorry, it is submit. All right, and class I'll be using as, let's say, black button, black with the white text btn. So this actually says button. All right, and I am done. So now let us check. Okay, so so enter your text is very, very small. All right, so now let us head to that. Okay, so text area, I think it won't be coming. Okay, so I'll say _1, and here also I'll say _1. All right, something's wrong. So enter your text is very, very small. All right, so okay, so For the form data, I have to say class col with the s12, and the next thing is I'll actually give this inside a row. So that actually is form with which the CSS materialize CSS works, and I'll make a div class as the input field. All right, input field field with the col as, let's say, s12. All right, so I'm going to take all of this and paste it over here. All right, so now let us check. Yeah, okay, so we have it. So now here it says enter your text. You can click it over here, and this is a submit, and this is a button. So now we are going to apply a JavaScript on it. This seems fine. Okay, so this is the best I can do. Anyway, so now here I'm going to say document dot get element by id. Get element by id for the form data. For the form data with let's say add event listener, which is going to listen for the submit. So whenever I click, and let's say predict spam. Okay, so that is the function that I'll be making, and here I'll say function with the predict spam. All right, so this is the function, and now this function will be responsible for let's say showing us the data. And the first thing that I want to do is I have to say e for the e dot prevent default. So this is going to allow us not to submit the form by default. And the next thing that you will have to work on, so here I'm going to say let text. So I'm making a let variable where I'm going to say document dot get element by id, which is going to take let's say text area 1, text area underscore 1, and its value whatever it has. All right, so probably the text that we are going to put. And now I'm going to use the fetch API, which is going to hit on, let's say, http localhost 5000, and it is going to return us a promise. So it says then response is equal to response.json, and here again I'll have to say dot then with the data. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use the console.log at the moment. I'll say console.log dot with the data. All right, very basic thing. And now it is since it is a post request, so I'll say comma with open and close curly brace, and inside this I'm going to say method, which is going to be post. All right, so this is the fetch API, followed by headers. So headers are going to be content type, so I'll say hyphen content type with application. All right, application as application slash json. And the next thing after headers, I'll put a comma and I'll say body. So this is where we pass the json dot stringify, which is going to hit on our form. All right, so here it is going to hit with the text, and it is going to take the text that we are catching from here. All right, and my REST mechanism is ready. Now we will have to head over to the app.py and select for the course. So here I'll say from flask underscore course, I'm going to import something known as course followed by cross origin. So this decorator will be applied, and also the mechanism. So here I'll say course is equal to cors course. So that is an initialization, and I'm going to pass it app. All right, so I'm sorry, I have to do it after this. All right, so over here, and after that I will have to say app.config. So configuration is very important, and here I'll say course underscore headers, which are going to be the content type, and content type I'm passing from the JavaScript, which is application JSON. So this is a JSONized format. It is going to catch only the JSON content types. And after that, after this route, I'm going to apply the decorator. So I'll say cross origin like this, and we are done. Our system is complete. And now let us check. Okay, so I'll have to run this because it has stopped anyway. So app.py, yeah, it is running, up and running. Now I'll head over to my front end, and let's say I'll open first of all Control Shift I, and we will now console log. So I'll say congratulations, you have won $1 million. Send OTP to claim the prize. All right, I'll click on submit. Yes, it says spam. Okay, we have successfully done that, and the last thing that we want to do now is display it. So I'll display, let's say over here, all right before form. So I'll say div, and this div is going to require an ID. So I'll say output, and now we have to head over to the JavaScript. I'll get rid of this console.log, and now I'm going to work with the function. Here I'll say if data.response is equal to spam, I want to perform something, else perform something. Okay, so if it is spam, we are going to display it in the red, and if not, we are going to display that it is not a spam. You're safe. All right, and the way I do it, so this response is basically coming from this. All right. So now if the response is spam, I want to perform something. So I'll say document dot get element by ID for the output with respect to, let's say, inner HTML. And now I'll put two backtags over here, and here I'm going to say div. So now here we are going to work with materialize CSS. Okay, so I'll put an alert with respect to, let's say, card of the red color. Okay, so red with the lightning as let's say 4 with the red text. Later on I'll say text a little bit darken, all right, with the -4. This is the first thing. Okay, so I'll have to close this div tag, and inside of this I'll again put a div tag, and I'll also close it. So I'll say div like this, and inside this now I'll say I can actually put a response if I want. So I can just say spam or ham, or I can say the message is spam. All right, and now I'm going to copy this entire thing, and I'm going to paste it over here. All right, and instead of red, now I want to make it green. Okay, so I can say the message is not spam, and here I'll say instead of red text, I'll say green text, and here in the alert, instead of red, I'll say green. Okay, and yeah, it seems fine. I forgot one thing. Since I mentioned the card, inside this div, I will also have to say class as the card content. This is completely, I am once again saying this is materialize CSS. You can check the documentation. So here I am going to say card content. I am going to copy this thing, and I am going to use it for this div also. Okay, and now we are going to head over here. So let us say meet me today before 16 to close our deal. All right, I'll say submit. Okay, so we have an uncaught promise. Inner HTML is not a function. Okay, let me check. Equal to. All right, so yeah, it is reloaded. Now let's say let us meet before end of the day to close our deal. Okay, and it says the message is not a spam. And now instead of this, I can say, let's say, congratulations, you have won $1 million. $1 million. Send OTP to claim price. All right, and now if I click over here, it says the message is spam. Okay, and this now entire thing has been handled in a full stack manner. All right, so we have an API followed by a JavaScript with the materialize CSS, and it says it is obviously going to show you whether a message is spam or not. Okay, so it has over here some issue. Yeah, I got it. So I have not closed the class, so that is the reason it was not coming appropriately. Now let me save it, head it over here, and now let me just copy it from the here, and now here I'm going to paste it. So it says meet me at the place we agreed. We have to close the deal today before going home. So this is an SMS. I'll say submit. It says the message is not spam. And similarly, if I check for, let's say, congratulations, you have won $1 million. Send OTP to claim the price. Okay, and now I'll say submit. It says the message is spam. Okay, so this is the way it works, and this is a really great one. Okay, so for the first time I have used the materialize CSS. All right, so this is it for this tutorial, and I hope you might have learned something or the other from this tutorial. The entire code will be available to you in the description box below. You can just click on it and you can have the code. All right, okay, so I'll make more content like this, and if you like my content, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notified every single time whenever I post something new. Alright, so thank you for watching. Goodbye.